ladies and gentlemen. It is Wednesday, February 25th, our last show of February already here at FifthDimensionRadio.com, but it's Wednesday night, so you know what that means.
10-cent beer night.
Official sports show at FifthDimensionRadio.com every Wednesday, 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time here in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. I'm Seth.
I'm Bob.
And this is pretty much Bob's time in sports right now. This is like maybe not perfect, but it's entering his perfect time because you got college basketball heating up, the NBA shaping. I know you don't pay as much attention, but you pay attention. I mean,
I pay attention getting close to the playoffs.
Right. And then on top of that, spring training exhibition has just kicked off this past weekend. And like Bob had said right before we pushed record, the Cleveland Guardians have a 3-0 start.
I mean, that don't mean nothing, but that looks good.
Yeah, they swept the Reds on Saturday, and then they beat the A's on Sunday there, and they shut them out 6-0.
You know what? Of course, I was listening. I was listening to the game yesterday on a station out of Cleveland, you know. And I'll tell you what, spring is here. Spring is around the corner.
It is definitely here, and especially down there in Florida and Arizona. Arizona, where Cleveland and Cincinnati both play. Same ballpark, too, in Goodyear. It is definitely underway. Speaking of Arizona, they are going to play, while we're recording this, they are going to play the Diamondbacks here in a few hours. But there are games underway right now. So, I mean, like, it is back in full form. And we'll go back to the Guardians here in a sec. We do want to quickly, because, again, we're in the middle of a very heated NBA season. We want to go to the Cleveland Cavaliers real quick, who last week had an overall very successful week. They went 2-1. They beat up the Nets 112-84 on the 19th. They edged out the Hornets 118-113. This Hornets team is good for the record. I mean, they're right there in the playoff talk. So this was not a game where they just weren't themselves. This was a game when that the Hornets just put up a good fight. But anyway, so yeah, they edged out the Hornets here, who played a very good game on Sunday night. They lost to the Thunder 113-121. And by 8 points there on a national televised game. And this is, Bob, I know you watch a lot of basketball, and you hear it all the time, and it's very important, because they play halves in college, so in the high school level, which you help broadcast over here, and then watching the professionals, the rule of thumb is you got to play all 4 quarters.
You got to play all 4 quarters.
Yeah. And what killed them here is people were talking about the refs. Okay, the refs were weird. It was not the worst call game I've ever seen, okay? What it comes down to is your first quarter was absolutely atrocious. And if you didn't have that was one of the worst quarters I've ever seen watching the Cavs, ever. It was, 9 turnovers. And I know 7 of them resulted in 21 points.
I mean, you're also playing probably the best team in the NBA.
You're playing the best team in the NBA. And I'll give the team credit because Thunder are very good defensively. They're going to get their blocks and they're going to get their steals. If the Cavs would have allowed only, let's just say 2, maybe even 3 turnovers out of those 9, they win that game. Like, that's what it comes down to. And so you can blame the refs all you want, but there was 9 bad turnovers. And, I mean, it happened almost in a row. It was bad. And it was they were up, Thunder were up 23-5 at a time. It was not a good look. But hopefully this will wake them up a bit because, again, it wasn't their worst game. There were some bad shots, too. And that's the thing that annoys me is what we have to get away from is that they don't – unless you have to chuck it up because the shot clock's going down, don't settle for the shot. Just keep passing the ball, and find the better guy. And they just kind of settle there. And one problem I have is, we trade DeAndre Hunter to the Kings. And Hunter, by the way, is having eye surgery, and he's out for the rest of the season. So we dodged a bullet there, just not having him at all. In this current rotation, I should say. But one of Hunter's problems this year, like he was the worst on the team with this, is if he had a guy draped all over him, he would take that 3-point shot. And it's like, I get it, you're 6'7", but it's like this guy's not giving you enough space or breathing room to put up a good shot to get your wind up and your release accurately. And we're seeing Dennis Schroeder, who we got out of that trade. He's doing that a lot. Mitchell has done that. I get he can hit those acrobatic shots now and then, but it's just better to just take the shot when you have a better looking shot. And Keon Ellis did it yesterday too. It's happening a little bit too much, But that's why it's just take the better. There was a time near the end of the game they were down by 5. Mobley took a 3, but he was wide open. It was a good shot. He missed it, but it's I'd rather he take that shot and miss it than take a really bad shot with the guy draped all over him and not a foul going to get called,
Yep.
But yeah, that's the other key thing this past week is Evan Mobley and Dean Wade came back, and Max Strus is close. They said they're expecting him to play during the season, but
I did hear Wade got in games the other day.
Yeah, he's back. He's starting too. So the team's almost all the way healthy with Troy and Max Strus. I did see an update, by the way, because maybe Strus will be back by this time, that this is one of the very few instances where both the guards and the Cavs will play in Cleveland on Easter Sunday. So there you go. Guards will be at 1:40, and then Cavs I think are 6 o'clock. I think that day.
So what you're saying is avoid downtown Cleveland if you're not going to the game.
If you're the Easter Bunny, get there before the traffic, So, yeah, absolutely. That will be April 10th there. So, for the Cavs this week, they're still in good position. They are right now in the conference. They are 4th. They are 1 game behind third place Knicks, 2 games behind the second place Celtics, 7.5 behind the Pistons, and they play the Pistons quite a bit coming up.
Yeah, I know. I tell you what, I can't believe the Pistons are playing that well.
Right. And we knew they were going to take the next step, but they basically replaced the Cavs of what they were last year. But the Cavs are creeping, and a lot of people are calling the Cavs the best team in the East right now. Charles Barkley changed his pick too. He was going to go with I don't even think he was going to go with the Pistons. I think he was going with the Celtics. The Knicks. He was going to go with the Knicks. And he said, guys, I'm going to tell you, with James Harden there, the Cavs are...
They really improved with Harden.
Right.
You can just tell it by the last couple games when he was playing there.
Right. I think the big red flag about Sunday's game and that loss was Thunder were without 3 of their best players. Not the best, because Chet Holmgren's still playing all that, but SGA, their reigning MVP, was not playing. Not Jalen Williams. They have 2 Williams. There's another Williams there. I don't have it in front of me right now, but he was very productive last year for them. A big-time fantasy player, too, if you play fantasy basketball. And he has been hurt most of this year. So had they had those guys back, do we lose by more than 8? And that's the part. We could talk about, the Cavs will be the best out of the East. These guys are the best out of the West, and if they're not prepared, you're talking about getting swept in the finals for the 3rd time in team history. You don't want to see that. So they need to be honest. So this week... And it's going to be a good week, too, okay? Tuesday in Cleveland. So by the time you hear this, it'll be over. But on Peacock, 7:30 p.m., they do play the Knicks in Cleveland. And Cavs are 1-1 versus Knicks. So I think this is the last game against the Knicks this season. If they win, then they are tied, I believe. I just said what it was.
I think it said Knicks was 1 game up.
Yeah. If they win, then they tie the Knicks for 3rd there. Wednesday, they play the Bucks. That'll be on FanDuel, 8 p.m. So by the time this ends, you can switch to the game and listen to it. Watch it. I should say watch, listen to it, whatever you need to do. And they're going to be at Milwaukee against the Bucks. Bucks are still banged up and very injured. We don't know when Giannis is going to come back, so this is a game they should win there. Friday, ESPN, 7 p.m. on FanDuel, and FanDuel's going to have it too. They're at Detroit. And so they're 1-1 versus the Pistons.
That's gonna be. They need that game,
right? And it doesn't end there, Bob. Till next 10-cent beer night. They after Friday, Sunday, they're at the Nets, who they beat up the other day, and that'll be on FanDuel at 3:30 p.m.
Yeah, I think they got one more game with the Knicks.
Then no Nets.
No, with the Knicks.
No,
I think they play. They only played within the conference 3 times. I thought they played 4 times.
They play within the division 4 times. Knicks are not the division; they're the conference. We're the Central.
Oh,
yeah.
And Detroit ain't in the Central.
Detroit's in the Central. We played Detroit 4 times.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
No, we play the Pistons.
You said 3 times. I go,
The next time, actually, Bob, will be Tuesday, next Tuesday, the 3rd. I have tickets to that one. FanDuel and this other network I've never heard of, RESN.
I never heard of it either.
They'll be broadcasting that. So they do play the Pistons twice within a week.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because when you said they play them 3 times or something like that,
No, they play the Knicks 3 times. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so this will be the last time against the Knicks. So
Yeah, that's right.
the last 2 times against the Pistons, though, so they'll be done playing the Pistons after March 3rd. Because I'm looking ahead, and it's a bunch of... Yeah, there's some East teams, but there's a bunch of West Coast teams left in the rest of the schedule. I mean, they play the Mavericks back-to-back, too, later, and they're much weaker than they were when the season started. So, I get 36-22. The trades seem to be working out so far. Everything's going. We just need guys healthy. That's what it comes down
That's
to.
what a lot of
know.
the Cavaliers' problem were this season with a lot of injuries.
Right.
A lot of injuries.
Right. And with the Max Strus thing too, they've admitted they don't know what he's going to look like when he comes back. He's missed a lot of time. They're very concerned about. I think it's an ankle injury.
Well, when he comes back, you send him down to the G League for a while, get his work in.
It's a little different than it's not baseball. I know.
I know, but I'm just saying that's what the G League was supposed to be for rehab and stuff.
It could help out with that for sure. Yeah.
I mean, I remember some of the guys. I remember going and watching the Charge play down in Canton, and a couple of guys come down there for rehab.
Absolutely. So yeah, we'll.
I mean, not the big name guys, but there was a couple guys that was.
No, speaking of that, Bob, I'm glad you brought that up. There is one name this was interesting. So, for those that don't know the G League, basically the minor leagues of basketball in a way, but it's different. Like even G League teams can operate, make their own moves outside of what their organization that owns them. So like the Cavs don't own I don't want to say own, but have contracts.
They really only own the 3 guys that they're allowed to go two-way players.
Right.
And then the rest of the guys, the NBA supplements these teams, but they don't own these teams.
Right.
They have their own private owners.
Right.
But the only one, like I said, there's 3 guys. Each team is allotted 3 guys for a two-way thing for each team.
Right.
That's what they're supposed to be. The Cleveland Charge. They're supposed to be the feeder system for the. But they're not really. They can trade amongst each other.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up. Late Friday night, the Charge made a trade for former, I think he was 5th overall pick, Victor Oladipo, who played for Indiana there. That really good that last, who was an Indiana coach there for a while. The one that threw the chairs.
Bobby Knight?
Yeah.
But Bobby Knight's been gone a while.
I thought that was his last team, though, Oladipo played for.
Bobby Knight's been gone for a while. This guy's probably in his late 20s, maybe?
No. He's in his 30s.
I don't think he played for Bobby Knight.
Let's see, 2008. No, so it was the guy that followed him there.
Yeah, because Bobby Knight been gone for a while. Of course, Bobby Knight passed away. But.
All right, former Cuyahoga Falls High School assistant, too.
And he was born and raised in Orrville, Ohio.
So it was the guy after Bobby. But anyway, Victor Oladipo, we went away for a sec. Victor Oladipo got traded to the Charge. He was in the conversation back in 2013 for the first overall pick that the Cavs used on Anthony Bennett. But he was in the discussion. And the reason they didn't pick him is because they said, well, we picked Dion Waiters the year before, which did not pan out either. But that was the reason why they did pick Victor Oladipo. But I mean, the guy, he's played for the Pacers, played for the Thunder, played for the Heat, and a couple other teams. He's been around. But it's good. I think that's going to be an interesting pickup for the Charge. See if they get any more fans to come in and watch them play. Because you don't have Chris Livingston, the local kid, there anymore. No more Luke Travers. They shook up their G League contracts. I know they just signed Darius Brown Jr. to a contract, and then they picked up a guy from the Spurs, a great 6'7" 3-point specialist. So like the whole charge has changed, which is going to happen. It's a minor league team, like we said. But you know what? At the same time, we give credit where credit's due with what Kobe Altman and the Charge have accomplished, because they had another great story just recently when the Cavs promoted Naquan Tomlin to a regular NBA contract. And so, just to put it in perspective, Dean Wade came through that system.
Yeah, Dean Wade. That's how I first seen Dean Wade.
Right.
Wade was in the with the Canton charge.
Right. So you had Dean Wade come up. Craig Porter Jr. is another one. He was, again, very brief. Same thing like with Tomlin. He was only with the Charge for so long, and then he got a regular contract. Then now you got Tomlin, another guy, and those are 3 undrafted free agents that came through the Cavs and have only been here. Lamar Stevens is another one who's no longer with us, but I mean it's still a good story. This guy was drafted originally by another team, actually has a ring with them, but then was kind of just cut and then brought to the Charge where he revived his career and got a good contract with the Cavs in the offseason. That was Sam Merrill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Sam was cut from the Bucks after their championship a few years ago, and so he was just a free agent. Cleveland brings him in as a two-way player. He starts firing on all cylinders, like you're seeing him do now for the Cavs, and he gets brought up, and he moves his way up to a bigger role, and now he's been starting games and whatnot, and he's been the 6th man off the bench now since the guys have been healthier. And I mean that has been a great story. So that just goes to show this is an example of a G League program that has really, really done well and done
it's good. G League's good basketball. I mean, I didn't miss a game when it was in Canton.
Right.
I was at almost. We were season ticket holders down there for 10 years.
That long?
9 or 10 years. We bought it the first year they was in Canton.
Huh.
Me and Bill, we was there for a long time. That's how we got to know Austin.
There
if you're watching, we miss you.
There you go. So we're about out of time for the first segment here. When we come back, we'll talk a little baseball. Guardians did sign a player, and we'll talk about what the Zips and Buckeyes had done this past week on the hardwood. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to 10 Cent Beer Night here on FitToMentionRadio.com. Hard to believe, our last one of February. We go into March next week, Bob, and get ready for inching closer.
Yeah, it is the last one in February, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I forgot, we got 28 days in this month.
Right. So we'll have the March Madness starting up. But before we get into that, we do have to talk a little bit of spring training baseball because it is here, it is underway. And Bob, something me and you have talked about on this show before, especially the middle of last year. Guards are finally trying it, and I kind of applaud them for it because it's like, why not? They're making Stephen Kwan play a lot of center field this spring. And I like that. I mean,
that's a good move.
You put a Golden Glover right there in center. He's got the speed. He's got a decent arm. I mean, it's not anything brilliant, but I mean enough.
No, but he's a hell of a defensive.
Right.
He gets to the ball.
Right. And I mean, because outside of him, they are talking about rookie De Lotter, who made his MLB debut during the playoffs last year, first-round pick. They are talking about him being in the discussion for center field, but right now they don't have a for-sure center fielder, but they're trying Kwan out. They said he will play most of his games. He will play center field in the exhibition season here. And so, no, I do finally applaud them for doing that. And that's going to move some guys around and makes just make things that make a little more sense, in my opinion. You have Valera, who probably will play some right field there. Left field, it could be a rotation of anybody. Let me see if there's some names. They brought up a
couple kicks.
Ian Happ and Dalton Varsho also switching to center field in their career there. You still have Nolan Jones there. Like I said,
I'll tell you what, I think Quan being in center field would be a good move.
Right. You got C.J. Kaifas still there, who will rotate first base with Kyle Manzardo, and then you still got Khalil Watson and Petey Haplin, who are rookies there that are also on the 40-man. So those guys will get some of the corner outfield stuff. But speaking of first base here, there was a move, and it's not a bad one by any means, but it's getting hyped. It's getting overhyped, and the Guards signed Rhys Hoskins to a minor league deal. The slugger that was with the Phillies for years. He played first base for them. And this is he played for Milwaukee the past 2 years. He did not play in 2023 at all. But this is his best season with Philly, power-wise, was 2018. He batted .246, 34 home runs, and 96 RBIs. He's had 230 home run seasons. That .246 is his second best, secondly third best batting average he's had of the past 2 seasons with Milwaukee. He
So he's a known power hitter.
Right.
So his average, usually most power hitters, their averages aren't the greatest.
No, and with Milwaukee, it was .223. The past 2 years he averaged.
How many home runs he had with Milwaukee?
With the 2 years combined, he had 26. And he didn't play. He played in 24. Played 131 games, and in 25 he played 90. So he played frequently. But they're hyping this as like, oh look, they got a power right bat. This is great. He got a minor league deal. I mean, if it works out, cool. But just I would take it with a grain of salt right now, and maybe if let's say he doesn't make the team, but he could go into AAA for a little bit, get called up later if God forbid there's an injury. But you know how things are. That's an idea right there. But I mean, people, because of how much they didn't do in the offseason, people are like, "Oh, look, a familiar name around." Because I mean, his name was.
They didn't do much in the offseason.
No, it was a couple bullpen pitchers at best is what they did, and only one of them got a major league deal, and yeah, the rest of them is whatever. I actually thought they should have. There was a do you remember Banda, who they gave up on. He goes to the Dodgers, does very, very well. Dodgers had to release him to leave room for somebody else they were bringing in, and they ended up trading him to the Twins. I thought Guards should have brought him back because he did very well with LA, especially in the playoffs. I mean, that was a great lefty pitcher, but LA felt like they already had enough in their bullpen and felt that they could move on from him and do better, so they traded him to the Twins, so he'll be going against the Guards there. But, I mean, that was a move I think they should have made, but they didn't. But it is what it is. Yeah. But, no, they didn't. So people are amping this up, and it's like, let's settle down here. I mean, this is a guy that, I mean, he's not going to help your average. He's going to help your power, and they do need help on the power numbers. I mean, Jose can't do it all, you know. But that's where they're hoping De Lautner comes in. They're hoping Bazana's going to come in and change that, too. They're pulling for Gabriel Arias to show some power, too. And Bo Naylor's another one. Because Stephen Vogt had made a comment about he thinks what Naylor did in the playoffs was a sign for better things to come. So we'll see. But, I mean, they do need all – I mean, they were like, the 29th overall offense last year, and they were a playoff team. So and I mean, especially again,
that offense. What kept us in that was pitching. We have the best pitching staff in baseball. I mean, I think we still have it now. You know, pitching kept us in the games.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
if you're 29th offense, there ain't no way we should have won our division. But it was the pitching that got us to that division.
Well, speaking of pitching, you got the Detroit, who's got a couple guys progressing and moving up prospect-wise, like Miz. Then they signed Framber Valdez, who was with Houston, and he was like an ace for them down there. And then you still got Tarek Skubal. So, I mean, the other teams are getting pitching too.
Well, Skubal, bring him. We always do good against Skubal.
Right.
Guardians, Indians, or whatever you want to call us, we always, during Stubal's season, we always did great against him.
Right.
And he's probably one of the best pitchers in all of baseball, but we always did good against him.
Right. So
we had his number. Let's put it that way.
So we'll see. Yeah, speaking of division pitching, Pablo Lopez to undergo Tommy John surgery, so he's done already, and Twins are not winning that trade with the Marlins there. They've had that guy for a few years, and he has dipped drastically. So, I mean, people question about Marlins trade away some of their top star pitchers. Some of it has been worth it, some of it has not. And then Cubs signed Michael Conforto. He was with the Dodgers last year, and he was a sitting free agent. This is a guy, when he's on, he's an incredible contact hitter. When he's off, he's ice cold. And like I remember watching with the Mets, because he's got a nice swing. He's not a bad player. The issue is he consistently is just not great at the play.
He's consistently being inconsistent.
Yeah. That's what it comes down to. So the Cubs, he'll be probably a backup outfielder for them. And he was so with the Dodgers last year. That's why the Dodgers didn't give the title, and that's why the Dodgers went out and got Kyle Tucker too.
No, Tucker's a good player.
Right. So he made his debut with the Dodgers yesterday. I think Diaz did too. So that team's ready to try to get a three-peat here. Just real quick, we're not gonna go too much into it because we'll go more into it in a few. It'll be here before you know it, but you know,
in a couple of weeks. In a couple of weeks, we'll break down every team.
Well, yeah, we'll do that too. I was going to actually. This was an NFL conversation.
NFL.
Yeah, NFL there.
Is there an NFL?
Yeah.
Is the season going on right now?
The off season's about to.
You know what?
Real quick. Okay, because free agency hasn't started, but there are some moves being made. A couple key ones out there. Over the weekend, Javonte Williams signed a 3-year deal to stay with the Dallas Cowboys, and that is big because that guy revived his career last year with Dallas. He played very well. He's expected to be the starting running back for the Cowboys, and this is a strong running back market this year. So that's one name off the table. Before I got to the studio, there was an update. Tight end for the Atlanta Falcons, Kevin Stefanski's new team, Kyle Pitts, who was a first-round pick a few years ago. They're going to franchise tag him, and then they're going to give him a long-term contract. There was some rumors about, like, would he be done in Atlanta? And, no, they're going to bring him back, and they should. And especially with Stefanski's system, he's going to get the ball even a little bit more. But, yeah, so he's going to be off the table as well. So there's a couple guys that are going to stay put. And they're wondering with this free agency, because this is a weird class, Bob. Again, we'll talk about when we get closer, is there's some electric names, but there's not massive names, but there's important names. You know, you got a lot of good offensive linemen who are going to be sitting there. And that's the big thing for Cleveland is they are going to be the first team since 1970 to go into an offseason where all their players are free, all their whole offensive line is free agents. Which is not a bad thing because of how poorly they played. So it's time to revamp it up a bit. The one guy they might bring back out of them all there is Joel Bitonio if he decides not to retire. They did push the conversation back another week, so we should know soon. But, I mean,
I hope he stays with us.
Yeah. I mean, well, he's
either get one more year in.
He's either going to stay or he's going to retire. Like, he's not going to leave. Because there's been some analysts.
I hope he decides not to retire and play one more year.
Right.
But then again, he's had his due. You know, he had his.
The fact they're delaying it, there's speculation he's going to do one more year. Because if he was going to retire, he would have just said,
I would have said, I'm done.
Yeah, he would have said he's done. There's some analysts that think, he could go to the Chiefs or he could go to this team. It's like, read between the lines. This guy has said, even despite the hell he's been through here, and he's actually had more good times than Joe Thomas did.
And Joe Thomas was a Hall of Famer.
Right.
And Thomas could have left any time he wanted to.
Right.
I mean, he stayed in Cleveland his whole career.
A lot of people don't know, there was a trade on the table that involved the Denver Broncos the year they won the Super Bowl. And they asked Thomas, they said, we have this trade. We're willing to pull the trade. I think a first-round pick was on the board. I'm not even joking. And they said, what do you want to do? And he goes, no, keep me here. So he chose to stay on the Bad Browns over. So he was committed. And same thing with Joel there. And that's not only because we had a great center in Alex Mack there who was also a great first-round pick, and he didn't want to stay. And nothing against him. I mean, I don't blame him. It was a mess, and Joe Thomas did everything he could to try to convince him to stay, and he won it. But So Bitonio realistically could come back, is what I'm saying. As far as the rest goes, I mean, DeJuan Jones is healing from injury. Luke Weipler might miss most of the season next year, so they're going to have to make a decision there. Zach Zinter's still an option. Guys slipping my mind, but they did get that guard from the Bears that started a couple games last year. That's very good. And so there's a couple guys currently on the team that could be promoted to start and do well. I know Wyatt Teller told the city goodbye last week, so he said he's moving on to different things there. So best luck there. But so those are the moves so far for the NFL. There's not going to be much between now and then free agency day, but yeah, we'll keep everybody in the loop as much as we can. But that's, I mean, we talk so much football that it's time to give the other sports some recognition, the ones that are going on right now. Which, speaking of that, we only got a couple minutes here, but Ohio State Buckeyes basketball this past week, there was the good and there's the bad. Tuesday, they beat ranked Wisconsin. They're now down to 24, but they beat them 86-69 in Columbus, and that was considered a big upset there. They fought Michigan State, number 15 in the nation, hard on Sunday, but fell short 60-66. So by the time you hear this, oh no, you wouldn't know because it's not till 9 o'clock, but not after this show, 9 o'clock on Big Ten Network, they're at Iowa. That's their Wednesday. Then this coming Sunday, they play number 7 Purdue, 1:30 p.m. on CBS. And we had a big ranking shake-up. Bob, we were talking
there was a bunch of top-ranked teams got beat this week.
Right, and like you had Michigan's story, which was they beat Purdue earlier this week, so those were 2 ranked teams. Michigan goes to number 1, and then they lose to Duke, and now Duke's your new number 1. So, I mean, that was kind of a roller coaster ride for them. They got the hot press there for beating Purdue, and then they got the low press for, losing to Duke. Like, oh man, like here we go. Is this what the big tournament's gonna look like? Which you don't know yet. But Michigan still have. I mean, they're 25-2, so I mean they're sitting pretty right now here. Yeah, so Michigan's actually now number 3. With the rest of the Big Ten, Illinois is number 10, Nebraska's 12, Purdue's 8, and Michigan State's 13 now. Ohio State in the middle of it there. They're 9-7 in the conference, 17-10 overall. I actually think this is better than where I thought they were going to be at this time this year. Because, new coach last year, he's building a program there. But some of these losses they're taking are very close, too. So anything could happen in that Big Ten tournament with Ohio State involved there. So right now they're 8th in the Big Ten, and we'll see what happens with them for the Akron Zips here. This past week they were away the entire week. They beat Western Michigan 90-73, and then last Friday they beat Ball State 78-65. Now they're 22-5 and they're second in the MAC there.
11-1 and 12-1 in conference.
Right. This week, by the time you hear this, it'll be over, and maybe history will be made. Tuesday night, they're in Akron against Buffalo, ESPN Plus 7 p.m. Again, it's already over by the time you hear. But if they win this game, that's 30 straight home games in a row, which is the Zips record set by Keith Dambrot back in 2000. I believe it was 17. Yeah. It was. So, big dog senior year because we watched him retire his jersey recently. And then this Friday, it's going to be another battle.
From the MAC Center.
Yep, 8 p.m. ESPNU. And actually, that is national ESPNU there, so that's national televised. They're at Kent. So that we'll see what Kent's going to want their revenge.
Center, game's 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
So there you go. So if they can tie the record against Buffalo, that would be great. And they do have a chance to beat it at the end of the regular season the following week there. But we'll see. It'll actually be.
We gotta get by. We gotta get by Kent.
Right. It'll be their last game against Northern Illinois in basketball. I think because I don't think they're going to play the tournament. Let me see here. Pull up the.
No, I don't. I think Northern Illinois is like last about. They won't make it.
They're 4. Yeah, they're 4-10 in the conference, 9-17.
Yeah, they're down the bottom.
Yeah, Akron's 13-1 in the conference. That one loss being Miami of Ohio, who is still perfect at 27-0 and 21 in the nation.
Oh, they're up to 21 now?
They're up to 21 in the nation. Yeah.
They're showing the Mid-American Conference a little bit of respect there at the NCAA.
Hopefully
a little bit.
We can take them out soon, though. So, but yeah, Miami of Akron there, and then Canada's third. Ohio is fourth, and Toledo is fifth. If it ended today, I did see UMass would play Akron, and that would be a tough first round matchup there because how tough UMass played.
UMass, I'll tell you what, we were at that game. UMass Akron. UMass ain't a bad team.
No.
They're physical.
They're pretty scrappy.
Yeah, they're not a bad team.
No, not a bad pro. And here they almost beat Miami.
They almost beat Miami and took Miami to overtime.
Yeah, they did. So, I mean, it's something you got to watch out for. Real quick, the last thing we'll end on, I was mentioning about Northern Illinois' last in basketball. They got their replacement for football Friday, Bob.
Yeah, I heard that.
And,
for going to the West Coast?
Yeah, it may have actually been it may have been the week before. So it was announced Sacramento State is joining the MAC. First California team to join the MAC for football only.
Football
only. But I mean, they have been a better program the past few years, so it's going to be interesting. So definitely we'll be looking.
Yeah, I was reading on that. Their conference they're in now. They what are moving out for because their conference did away with football. They'll stay they'll play their regular other sports in the Midwest, whatever that conference is out there. But the conference itself don't have football. So that's why they were independent for the last couple of years.
Right. So they'll be in the MAC.
So they joined the MAC. But then that's going to do some traveling now.
Right.
So we got the Midwest schools here. You know, they're going to have to go out west.
Yeah, we got to take a break. When we come back, we'll recap the Olympics, Team USA rules in hockey, that and more. Stay tuned. Welcome back to our last segment of 10 Cent Beer Night in February. Hope you had all the love in the pack skis because the season is changing to March where we will embrace spring and not quite Easter yet, but we'll have our March Madness.
But we got to celebrate St. Patrick's Day.
That's right.
March the 17th.
That's right.
Our green water.
I did see.
I ain't going to say beer.
I wish they had these when I was growing up, but I'll throw this out there. I was at a store, and for St. Patrick's Day, Lucky Charms and General Mills put out a packet of just the marshmallows for Lucky Charms. They have the green milk ones too, but like as a kid, you always wonder why can't I just have the marshmallows? It's like, well, your St. Patrick's Day, they'll hook you up. Actually, they do it technically all year round. There's another spot you can get them, but just as St. Patrick's Day there.
That's a day we're all Irish.
Speaking of Lucky Charms and gold, U.S. had their best Winter Olympics of all time here. But they did fall short of the number one spot. Norway was number one with 41 medals total, 18 gold, 12 silver, and 11 bronze.
You know what? Those countries, Norway, Sweden, they should be winners because they're winter all year round up there.
Absolutely, I agree. U.S. was number two, 12 gold, including 2 in hockey. The first time they've swept the world in hockey, women's and men's won. Of course, men beat Canada in overtime yesterday there.
Yeah, but that was first one since 1980.
Since 1980, yep. 12 silver, 9 bronze. And then a couple of those were from Myles Garrett's now fiance there, who is a snowboarder, Kim. I can't remember her first name, but they did get engaged out there. So, out in Italy during the Olympics.
So Myles was out in Italy?
Myles was out in Italy. He was actually, Myles does photography. I don't know if you know this, Bob. He was at the Miami, Ohio game Friday.
Yeah, I seen that.
Yeah, he was just to do photography, and it was a big deal because, Miami, Ohio's catching people's attention in basketball.
He's taking pictures?
Yeah. He likes photography.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He obviously went to Texas A&M. He's not from Ohio, so there was no reason for him to recruit a basketball game there, but no, he does photography, and he was at that game taking photos there of Miami's historic run there. But United States 33, total medals there. We're very proud of you. We really, really are. You made us very proud there. Now we'll just name the top 5. Number 3 was the Netherlands, another country where it's snowy all the time. 20 medals total, totaling 10 gold, 7 silver, and 3 bronze. Number 4, the host Italy, had 30 medals, 10 gold, 6 silver, and 14 bronze. And number 5 was Germany with 26 medals, 8 gold, 10 silver, and 8 bronze. But
yeah, but you would think. I mean, the Scandinavian countries, it's winter year round. You figure that's winter sports constantly over there.
Right.
We go for our winter sports to our spring sports to our summer sports to.
Right, absolutely.
Well, ours is too. Yeah.
There you go. So, yeah, very proud of it. So, Winter Olympics are in the books there. The next big worldwide sporting event will be this summer in the United States, and it will be the World Cup. So, there you go.
The next big sport.
Oh, we do have the base. We do have the
World Classic.
Yeah.
World Classics in the United States this year. But you got the first Saturday of May.
Are you talking about the horse race?
Yeah, Kentucky Derby. Come on, that's a worldwide event.
That's a U.S. event there.
No, that's a world event. We got last year a Japanese horse was in it, and a Saudi Arabia horse was in it. Now it's becoming a world event. I apologize.
We do have the World Baseball Classic. I did forget that.
Yeah, World Baseball Classic.
They were talking about Travis Bazzana. He's fighting for the starting position for Cleveland on opening day, but he's going to have to head up to Sydney soon because he's going to play for Australia, and get ready for that. And then I think Jose might be on the team this year. The guards don't have a ton, but they are losing a couple guys for the team. I think Bybee might be one of their pitchers is on one of the teams too. He might be on Team USA.
I don't think is Hosey going to be able to play in that. I mean, because that's going on at the same time as the MLB is going on. I remember the first year that World Classic was ever. They let the guys take a week off.
Right.
And I forget how it's set up.
We'll
it's set up. So, but I don't think they do that anymore. They given the teams are taking a break or something like that. I think the very first year there was like a week off.
No, it starts March 5th. It goes to March 17th. So.
Okay, all right. So it's during the spring.
Yeah, it's during the spring. Yeah.
I don't know if they're gonna let Hosey. Will they let Hosey out for that? Or is this spring training going on?
Let me see. I mean, they let everybody. USA's roster real quick. David Bednar, Matthew Boyd, Garrett Clevenger, Clay Holmes, Griffin Jacks, Brad Keller, Clayton Kershaw. This will be Kershaw's last. He's not playing this year. Right. He's retired, but he's going to play for Team USA.
He wants a gold.
Nolan McLean, Mason Miller, Joe Ryan, Paul Skeens, Tarek Skubal, Gabe Spear, Michael Wacha, Logan Webb, and Garrett Whitlock. Catchers are Cal Riley and Will Smith. Infielders Alex Bregman, Ernie Clement. That's right. Bregman, I think, just recently signed with the Cubs. I was trying to remember where he signed. Yeah, Paul Goldschmidt, Bryce Harper, Gunnar Henderson, Bryce Terang, and Bobby Witt Jr. Outfielders are Roman Anthony, Byron Buxton, Pete Crow Armstrong, and Aaron Judge. Designated hitter is Kyle Schwarber. Your manager is Mark DeRosa, former Cleveland Indian there. Brian McCann's also on staff. Andy Pettit's on staff. That's cool. Let me see real quick who Dominican Republic's roster here. With Sandy Alcantara. I'm not going to announce everybody, but I want to see who Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s on, and Junior Camargo, former Cleveland prospect, Manny Machado. That's the Ahmad Rosario. Carlos Santana is also on Team Dominican. O'Neal Cruz, Julio Rodriguez, Juan Soto, Fernando Tatis. Albert Pujols is their manager, too.
I don't think Hosey's gone.
He might not be.
I think he said he wasn't. He'll concentrate. He wants to concentrate on this season.
Let me check Team Puerto Rico real quick. Edwin Diaz, new Dodgers closers on that team. There.
Oh, he's not Puerto Rican.
No, but you don't have to be. Nolan Arenado is on there. He's not on this team, no. He might not be on it at all. But yeah, let's see. For Australia, I'm going to pull that up real quick. Yeah, you have Bazana. He's going to be for Australia, which is like, I get it. He's still a young prospect. But it's like when you're trying to win a opening position for your team, you think you would stay. But again, you have an opportunity to play for your country. And I mean, you don't want to pass that up too at the same time, And again, you're still playing too, especially if he starts. He's still going to get some bats here. Let me see here. This would be easier.
Oh well.
But that's something to look out for. But Guardians, 9 Cleveland Guardians players, 3 coaches skilled in the World Baseball Classic. Okay, so here's for the guards. Bazana in Australia, we just talked about. Bo Naylor's going to play for Canada.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Matt Wilkinson's going to play for Canada. And with Naylor, though, especially when he's trying to amp his game up, that's going to be interesting if that gets... Because sometimes when they play the World Baseball Classic, ladies and gentlemen, for those that don't know, it kind of sets back their production, getting ready for the season, especially if you're a pitcher. But Matt Wilkinson's going to play for Canada. Stuart Fairchild's going to play for Chinese Taipei there. Dayan Frias, Colombia, so that's a prospect there. Dylan DeLucia, a pitcher, he's going to play for Italy. Matt Fista's going to play for Italy. Logan Allen's going to play for Panama.
Huh?
Yeah, he just started one the other day. Ryan Prager is going to play for Israel. There, so your coaches for the Guardians going into the World Baseball Classic there. Sandy Alomar Jr. go to Puerto Rico. Rogus Odor is going to go to Venezuela. Former Rubber Ducks coach. I don't think he's there anymore.
No.
But yeah, I mean he was with the Rubber Ducks there. And Brad Goldberg is going to go coach in Israel. So there's your Cleveland Guardians. So yeah, you're right, Bob. Jose's not.
Yeah, he said that he did not want to. I remember seeing somewhere he said that I'm not going to play in the world games because I want to concentrate more. I'm getting my ammo for the season
for Cleveland, yeah, and everything. So we'll see what happens there. So yeah,
and I bet you Naylor, if Bo's playing for Canada, Josh is probably too. So.
Probably there. I did see he was happy about because he plays for Seattle now. He signed a contract extension there. He was happy about the Seahawks winning it all. He said he didn't really have a football team, but he said the players talked him into adopting Seattle, and he said he loved watching them. So
he's from Ontario. A close NFL team would have been the Browns. Why is he a Browns fan?
I think you know why. There you go. But yeah, I was bringing up the World Cup. That's going to be in the summer here in USA for the first time since I think 97, 99. It's been a while. And Los Angeles, Dallas, I think Miami, Chicago. Those are some of the names pop up. Speaking of which, Baba, you like to give out your opinions about things. What do you think about the Bears officially moving their new stadium to Gary, Indiana? It's official.
So it is official?
It's official.
So the Gary Bears.
Pretty much.
Well, they can go take. If I was a Chicago fan, I'd tell them to go to hell.
I think it's weird. I think
it is weird.
I'm not.
It's sort of like we're moving the Browns over to Brook Park.
The difference is that
there ain't no difference. They're Cleveland Browns.
That's it.
They are the Cleveland. They're not the.
It
Brook
is
Park.
Cleveland. It is Cleveland.
It ain't Cleveland.
You can see the skyline from Brook Park. That is still the Cleveland City District. Okay.
No, it is not. It's still its own city. Brook Park is its own city. It is not Cleveland.
It's still in the area. This is a different city and state. That's my problem.
Then why don't they move it to Akron? We're part of Cleveland. We're northeastern Ohio.
We're not part of Cleveland.
Yes, the same way at Brook Park.
No. Brook Park. It's just for everybody that knows. Brook Park is just outside. I mean, you can see the sky.
It's 10 miles from downtown Cleveland. That ain't outside Cleveland.
That's not bad. No, that's. Hold on. I'm going to look this up.
It's 10 miles. They
Let's
always
see.
say we're Cleveland metropolitan area. They always say Akron, Ohio's in it. So we're part of Akron. We're part of Cleveland too.
So
why don't they move it here?
Technically, you bring that up, okay? Technically speaking, I'm looking. I looked up the routings from Chicago to Gary, and they're 38 minutes away. So it's like if the Browns did move to Akron. It's literally the distance from Chicago to Gary. And my thing is too. It's a different state. It's in Indiana. Like, you're not Chicago. You're not Illinois anymore.
Well, then you go with the Giants, and Giants play in the Meadowland, New Jersey.
Yeah, both the Giants and the Jets.
And they're in New Jersey, and they're the New York Giants, New York Jets.
That's probably that's a good point, Bob. That's probably where they're stealing the idea from. They're like, look, if they can
Neither
get away
team
with
plays in New York; they play in New Jersey.
Right. It's weird, you know.
It is weird.
You know, I'm not. You know, I have nothing against the Bears. I'm not an anti-Bears. I mean, as long as you're not Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Baltimore, I don't care. But
I think if you move a team, move a team from a city to another city, it becomes that name.
The NFL
you don't call it the Chicago Bears.
The NFL is weird in general, Bob, because the thing that this gets talked about literally every year. Excuse me, okay, is like the AFC South, Jacksonville, okay, Houston, okay. Indianapolis, wait a minute, and Tennessee. That's not the South. Tennessee could get away maybe a little because they're the SEC too, University of Tennessee, I should say. But like, Indianapolis is in the AFC South, and they're not South at all.
But located from us, they're South. Pittsburgh, they're south of Cleveland. Indianapolis is down towards Cincinnati. Yeah. So it's really could be in this. Cincinnati should be in the South Division too, if you want to be technical about it. We got more teams up northern area than you do the south.
They've talked about should the Titans or the Bills be more in the AFC North than some of these, and should the Ravens be in the NFC East because of AFC? Excuse me, not NFC, because of the locations. I mean,
Baltimore's east,
right?
And
it's closer to the Miami, the New York Jets, who's the other team? I'm not thinking. Oh, New England.
Let's go back to the name thing.
Let's go back to.
All right.
You mean the stadium thing, not the name thing.
No, the change in names going to the cities.
Okay.
All right. Duluth. Back in the 1920s.
Okay.
They moved Detroit from Duluth.
Where's that?
Duluth, Minnesota.
Okay.
They became the Detroit Lions. So
what were they?
They should be called the Lions, Duluth Lions, in 1922 when the NFL was formed.
Right.
Green Bay was not in Green Bay. It was I forget we're somewhere else in Wisconsin. I can't think of that. All these name changes going to these different cities. I don't know how you want to explain
The Colts originally were in Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Yeah, they were Baltimore.
They were Baltimore. They were going to Indianapolis. If you want to technical about it, why didn't the Browns name go to Baltimore?
No, we didn't want that. We fought for it.
They fought for it, but by rights, if you're talking about that's what it should have been. They should have been Baltimore.
Raiders carried their name to Vegas, and so I'm glad we kept our name. I don't even care.
But like I said, I told you, we talked earlier, I ran into a guy wearing a Washington Commanders shirt. We always sitting here saying, bring the Redskins back.
Yeah,
bring the Redskins.
Yeah.
This guy says, I said, when are they going to bring the Redskins back? I hope never. Okay. But it's just, you change the city, they go somewhere, they should change the name. It's always going to be the Brook Park Browns to me. It ain't good. I will not say Cleveland Browns if they're in Brook Park.
I think the problem is if they don't find a way to win soon, they're not going to get anybody to that stadium.
They already upped the prices. You see what the ticket prices are?
I have.
I couldn't even afford to go park my car.
it'll be like InfoCision Stadium. The first game's going to sell out, and after that, it's going to be hard to get people to get in. And you got to have a winning team by then. He has to know that.
The cheapest seat in that place in the nosebleeds is going to be $1,000, $850. How in the hell can pay $850?
I'll order some pizza and I'll put on CBS.
I'll sit home and watch it on TV.
I'll watch the game on TV. I'll say, if you win a Super Bowl by then, maybe I will sell my mortgage or something to get a ticket from.
I will never pay more than $300 for a ticket. I don't care who it is. They don't pay $300 to come and see me.
If this was Game 7 of the NBA Finals, I might pay $1,000.
I wouldn't even do that. I'll tell you, the only time I would spend up to, we'll say $1,000, and I probably wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't jump on that.
It'll be for a World Series. It wouldn't be for the NFL or the Super Bowl. It'll be for a World Series.
Right.
So
I wouldn't pay
I'm a baseball guy.
I wouldn't pay that money for a team that's not mine. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, if the Guardians made it to the World Series, I might pay that money to go see one game. But I wouldn't pay it for the Browns. I wouldn't pay it for the Cavs.
Hey, Akron Sips NCAA Finals.
I'll be there.
Would you pay $1,000?
Yes, I would.
Yeah, I knew I could get an
Yes, I would.
Okay, and I would too. For the record, if they ever made it that far, and I could, if I had $1,000,
I'll tell you what, I would probably pay it to go to the Final Four.
Fair enough. That's
fair enough.
That's fair enough. Yeah, But I knew there was an exception there. I was like, wait, there's something, and I'm looking at your hat, and I went, that's what it was. So, hey, we gotta leave. Thank you guys for a great February. Thank you for tuning in. Bob, do we have any high school basketball games?
Not for the time being.
Okay.
It was a great run. We're probably gonna bring a couple district games. We're looking into it, but that probably won't be till the first week of March.
Okay, so I didn't know the season lasted that long. Okay,
season goes all the way to the end of March.
There you go. So look out for that on the Fifth Dimension and the 10 Cent Beer Night page. We'll have an update for you on that as far as broadcasts go. Next week we'll talk about the Cavs. We'll talk about the Buckeyes and Zips. Last week of the regular season is next week for college hoops. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about spring training and a lot of fun's around the corner, Bob. So we'll look forward to that. With all that being said, I'm Seth.
I'm Bob.
Go Cavs, go Zips, go Buckeyes, go Team USA. We're so proud of you. Good job.